On the news, Customs boss announces reopening of 6 borders across the country. Senate sets up committee to investigate the disbursement of 500 billion naira Development Bank of Nigeria loan. And U.S. court sentences Hush Puppy's Ali Woodbury to 8 years in prison, orders deportation. Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Simisola Adigun. The Acting Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Wale Adeniyi, has announced that 6 borders across the country have been reopened, adding that a review is currently underway to assess the objectives of the closure. Adeniyi made the clarification on Tuesday while speaking to State House correspondents after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa. He added that the new legislation of the service would impose heavy sanctions and penalties on violators of customs laws. There are more details in this report. Following the order by former President Muhammadu Buhari on the closure of Nigeria's land borders to prevent the importation of goods in 2019, trade in foodstuffs, which had already been distressed by various past import restrictions, was significantly affected. The Buhari-led administration had justified their decision as a tactic to curb smuggling of goods and encourage local production of food, such as rice. 4 years later, President Bola Tinubu has ordered 6 strategic borders to be reopened. Addressing newsmen on Tuesday after meeting with the president at the State House, Abuja, the Acting Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Wale Adeniyi, said that ongoing reviews on the objective of the border closures will enhance border security and regional integration.
There are ongoing processes to review this situation against the objective of the border closure itself. And the processes are not yet completed. And of course, when the borders are reopened, it's not going to be subject of rumor in any way. I can also tell you that part of my discussions with Mr. President is to actively engage customs administrations across our borders, particularly the strategic ones that we must work and collaborate with for us to achieve common objectives of border security and regional integration.
Speaking on the issue of fuel smuggling, despite the removal of subsidies, Adeniyi acknowledged that complete eradication may take time. According to him, while some border areas have reported seizures of fuel, the rate of smuggling has considerably reduced.
It might take some time before the issue of smuggling of fuel across the border will completely dissipate. So, in some border areas, we had reports of seizures of fuel, and that is what we had. So it was the assumption generally that because of the fuel is now sold at 500 naira per liter, it will be a disincentive for smuggling. But contrary to that, we have seen that they are still smuggling it across the borders. The rates at which this is being smuggled has reduced considerably. And it is our hope that by the time we mix some of these other policies that government is working on, it will completely eliminate the problems of smuggling of fuel across our borders.
Adeniyi further revealed that there are plans to decongest the nation's ports in a bid to improve the economy and promote port efficiency. He also pledged the commitment of the customs to bring out reforms and to collaborate with other agencies of government to achieve some of the objectives stated in the Nigeria Customs Policy Advisory document. Simisola Adigun, TV360 News. Well, various reactions from experts and stakeholders have trailed the reopening of 6 strategic borders across the nation as ordered by President Bola Tinubu. Earlier, I spoke to economic analyst Segun Sopitan on what his thoughts were regarding the reopening. I began by asking him the expected benefits of this move on the nation's economy.
From time immemorial, man has had to trade, with neighbors to survive, even for prehistoric man. You had to trade with the people, in the villages nearby, and all of that to supply to make ends meet. Closing of borders as a reaction to specific challenges that a country is having, for me, is a bit extreme. So if you have a challenge with smuggling, for example, how does the closing of borders actually address, that problem? During the period when the borders were closed, for example, to the importation of customs service going to people's depots, warehouses, and shops to impound the imported rice, that should have told us that the border closure in itself maybe didn't achieve the objectives for which it was done in the first place. So the benefits of this, the country will trade more with its neighbors, we'll be able to sell more, we'll be able to hopefully attract some badly needed foreign exchange that we have been losing as a result of this closure. Smuggling of petroleum products as a direct factor in the revenue situation of the country, I don't think you have much of an impact there. What's the volume of petroleum products that get smuggled across the borders, and what's the revenue, the value of the revenues that are directly tied to those volumes that customs service, for example, was losing because those volumes were not passing through the borders legitimately. I'm not so sure that the volumes were significant enough for that to be, a consideration and a reason to say you want to shut down your borders. So border closure as a policy measure to deal with smuggling, to deal with the proliferation of small arms, security issues, has not worked for us. We have to be more holistic. We have to be more determined, and the political will to do the things that need to happen needs to be in place for us to solve these problems, rather than just an outright closure of our borders.
A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed the suit filed by Senator Smart Adeyemi challenging the primary election that produced Ahmed Ododo as the candidate of the All Progressives Congress (APC) for the Kogi State governorship election scheduled for November 2023. Ahmed Ododo was declared winner of the primary after he scored 78,704 votes to beat 6 other contestants. In the suit, Adeyemi prayed the court to cancel the APC primary election on the ground that it was not validly conducted. He alleged that Ododo's election was in violation of Section 177 of the 1999 Constitution and Sections 29 and 84 of the Electoral Act, as well as Article 20 of the APC's Constitution. Delivering judgment, Justice James Omotosho held that Adeyemi did not prove his allegation that Ododo was not lawfully nominated by the APC. Now, still on legal matters, a United States District Court has sentenced Olaleye, better known as Woodbury, to 8 years in jail over fraud. Woodbury is an ally of Ramon Abbas, best known as Hush Puppy, another Nigerian who was jailed for internet fraud in November 2022. On June 10, 2020, Hush Puppy and Woodbury were arrested in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, for extensive international online fraud. Both men were then transported to the U.S. for separate trials. Although Hush Puppy initially denied all charges, he later changed his plea and was sentenced to 11 years imprisonment. Similarly, Woodbury, accused of defrauding a U.S. company of about $188,000, maintained his innocence for over 2 years. Vice President Kashim Shettima has called on the leadership of the House of Representatives to support President Bola Tinubu's administration's efforts to transform the country. Shettima made the call on Tuesday in Abuja when he received the leadership of the 10th House of Representatives on a courtesy visit at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. According to him, Nigeria needed to work in harmony, while he reassured that the government was willing to work for the good of the nation.
They were just elected not quite 2 weeks ago, and we felt that it is expedient to formally bring them, introduce them to him. Because in this particular project, we call it Unity Project. We do not look at ourselves as APC, PDP, LP. We look at ourselves as parliamentarians representing the Nigerian project. So we feel that at this point that we have elected our leadership, for both the majority and the minority, we should all come together and pay homage to our VP, to see them, get to know them, so that we can prepare for the challenges ahead of all of us in this country. We will pay the same kind of courtesy visit in the coming days to Mr. President to also get him to know our principal officers. There were just misunderstandings. We sent our list ahead of the time when we brought them open, and it was just unfortunate the national chairman did not see the list before we announced, but we really did that, and that misunderstanding was cleared later. So we are on the same page right now. No issues.
Now to security. Governor of Gombe State, Inuwa Yahaya, says he will work to foster collaboration between the Northern Governors Forum and the federal government in solving the security challenges in the Northeast. Yahaya spoke with State House correspondents after a private meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima on Tuesday at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The governor added that in addition to politics, issues confronting the North and Nigeria in general were discussed at the meeting.
There is peace in Gombe for so many reasons. One, the nature of our people. We are sort of a mix of several ethnic groups and several religions joined together and living peacefully. So within a family, you could find people of different faiths but sharing the same parents. So because of that, the background is so okay that now we build on it and coordinate the relationships. Secondly, government get focused and is working day and night with the security agencies to ensure that there is compliance with law and order. And there is compliance to a reasonable extent in Gombe. But the issues that have to do with resources, especially the land resource, because our people are peasant farmers, and farmers means those that are involved in crop production and livestock. So in between, because of the encroachment of our grazing reserves, forest reserves, and even the cattle routes, issues have started to spring up, and those issues are those that catapulted to become to result into rustling, banditry, and kidnap for ransom, which is very, very prevalent in the northwest and the north central. So at the moment, we are focusing on doing that, maintaining the peace by providing for each and everybody and each and every sector.
President Bola Tinubu has said his administration remains fully committed to issues of girl-child education and gender empowerment and will promote same in the policies and programs of the federal government under his watch. The president made this known through the vice president on Wednesday when he received while on a courtesy visit from a delegation from led by Pakistani education activist Malala Yousafzai at the presidential villa. The Pakistani education activist was accompanied by delegates of the United Nations led by the Deputy Secretary General and Chair of the United Nations Sustainable Development Group, Amina Mohammed. According to the Vice President, the Sustainable Development Goals 4 and 5 will be vigorously pursued by the present administration.
I was so lucky that I was able to meet girls in Abuja. I was also able to go to Borno State and meet incredible girls, visit their schools, and also meet the education activists. It is the work of the education activists, girls, and civil society and government that gives us hope that we can have a better future for education of all children, especially girls here. And I was very lucky that I had the meeting with the Vice President and he gave us his time, he gave us his support, and our ask here in Nigeria is that government, all states and all party members make a commitment to ensure that every child in Nigeria has access to a complete education, which includes senior secondary education as well, that every child has access to a free and quality education. And the second ask is to ensure that we make the full financial commitment to ensure that no child is left behind in this country.
Well, 10 years ago, Malala made her speech at the UN. She is the UN peace messenger. And this time she decided on her 10-year anniversary, she wanted really to make the advocacy for education here in this country. We have a large number of out-of-school children. We know that the quality of education is not what every child should have in this country. And the advocacy to an administration that is coming in that believes in education is an important timing. So her voice, her inspiration, not just to government, but to the rest of society, to governors that we met yesterday, is extremely important as this administration begins its journey of the next 4 years.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, Nigeria's half-year direct remittances drops by 21% to $952 million. Stay with us for details of the story and more when we return.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DG360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DG360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Let's take a quick recap of our top stories. The Acting Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Wale Adeniyi, has announced that 6 borders across the country have been reopened, adding that a review is currently underway to assess the objectives of the closure. Adeniyi made the clarification on Tuesday while speaking to State House correspondents after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the Aso Villa. He added that the new legislation of the service would impose heavy sanctions and penalties on violators of customs laws. He also told you that a United States District Court has sentenced Olaleye, better known as Woodbury, to 8 years in jail over fraud. Woodbury is an ally of Ramon Abbas, best known as Hush Puppy, another Nigerian who was jailed for internet fraud in November 2022. On June 10, 2020, Hush Puppy and Woodbury were arrested in Dubai, United Arab Emirates for extensive international online fraud. Both men were then transported to the US for separate trials. Now, just in case you missed any of our news bulletins, and for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. You know, it's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so...
Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We're only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came up with this one now? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Folashade Ogunride has joined us with business news. Over to you, Folashade.
Well, many thanks, Simisola. In business, data released by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has revealed that the country received a total of $952 million as direct remittances from Nigerians abroad between January and June this year. The half-year 2023 remittances, however, represent a 21% decline compared to the $1.210 billion recorded in the same period last year. A monthly breakdown of the data showed that Nigeria recorded $79.2 million in remittances in January 2023. In February, total remittances increased slightly to $83.8 million, while $138.6 million was recorded as total direct remittances in March. We'll take a break now and be back with a review of the stock market. Do stay with us. At the midweek of trading, the NGX could not sustain its winning streak as investors lost 88 billion naira, deepening the market cap to 34.88 trillion naira. Now, market breadth was negative as 63 stocks lost relative to 12 gainers. Now, topping the losers table is FGN Holdings with an end-of-day price appreciation of 10% at 19 naira 35 kobo per share, followed by eTransact International. On the winner's corner, Courtville Business Solutions led with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 88 kobo per share, followed by Deep Capital Management and Trust. Now let's see how our market summary ended. We see that in total 1.163 billion volume of shares valued at 12.6 billion naira exchange hands in 13,878 deals. Now let's take a look at some of our global stocks and see how well they performed. Now we can see it's a mixed trading day for FTSE, Dow Jones and Nikkei. While FTSE ended in the greens at 1.83%, Dow Jones ended also in the greens at 0.34%. Unfortunately, Nikkei was unable to keep its heads above waters, ending in the reds at 0.81%. And that's it on business news and stock market review. Back to you, Simi, for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Folashade. And on the global scene, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has welcomed new security commitments from G7 powers on Wednesday, but warned that this could not be a substitute for eventual NATO membership. The Ukraine leader had also expressed hope that the NATO summit in Vilnius would have issued an invitation with a clear timetable for Kyiv to formally join the NATO alliance, saying he hoped that after the war, Ukraine will be in NATO. Speaking after talks with NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, Zelensky said the G7 promises should be seen as security guarantees on its way to integration. The G7 group is expected to announce a plan for long-term guarantees to help Ukraine defeat the Russian invasion and deter future aggression. Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now. Nollywood actress Cynthia Okereke, who was kidnapped last year alongside Clemcy Cornell while filming in Enugu, is dead. With an undisclosed reason, Joseph Okechukwu, colleague of the deceased, confirmed the death of the actress during the early hours of the day. Okereke's death is the latest in the movie industry that has seen some of its stars, such as Saint Obi, Don Brimo, Murphy Afolabi, Femi Ogurumbi, also known as Papa Ajasko, pass on recently. Nollywood actors have taken their turns to mourn the late actress, who is well known for her motherly roles in epic Nigerian movies. The Oyo State Magistrate Court sitting in Iyango, Ibadan has ordered skit maker Abdullahi Maruf Adesa, popularly known as Trinity Guy, to remain in prison. Trinity was summoned by the Oyo State Police Command in June following his controversial prank video with a minor, and it was later arraigned on a 2-count charge of conspiracy, sexual abuse and exploitation alongside the parent of the child. However, during the second hearing on Tuesday, the magistrate further extended the remand of Trinity and the parent of the child in Agodi prison till August 31st for further hearing. That's it on the entertainment segment of News Now. Tamilore Akinkwole, TV360 Nigeria. And in sports, Saudi pro club Al Nassr has been banned from registering new players going into the new Saudi Arabia Professional League season. The club was sanctioned by FIFA over a transfer issue involving Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa having failed to pay Leicester City the outstanding fees over Musa's transfer. The former Saudi Pro League champion had earlier paid the Foxes €16.50 million to secure the services of Musa, but is yet to pay the €460,000 in performance-related add-ons, despite the Court of Arbitration for Sport ruling. Musa had linked up with Al Nassr in a well-celebrated move in 2018 after an impressive outing in the World Cup in Russia. Well, that's our package this evening. Many thanks for watching. I am Simisola Adigun.